Thomas Gilbert's Behavior Engineering Model, narrated by Kathleen Gilmore. This model comes from Thomas Gilbert in 1979. So Thomas Gilbert's behavior engineering model is based on the understanding that for any behavior to occur, the person has to have the knowledge of what they need to do, the capacity to do it, and the motivation to do it. If all three of these things exist, then the behavior will happen. So to use an example, we'll think about me answering my cell phone. If I know my cell phone is ringing, then that greatly increases the possibility that I'll answer it, right? But if it's silenced or I don't have it on me and I don't know it's ringing, I'm not going to be able to answer it. If I have the capacity, so let's say I know my cell phone's ringing, I can see it, but I can't reach it because it's locked inside my car with my keys. So I may know that my cell phone's ringing, but I don't have the capacity to answer it. I can't reach it. Or motivation. Maybe I hear my cell phone ringing, it's in my pocket, I pull it out, but it says potential spam. I'm not motivated to answer it. I'm not going to do that, okay? So Thomas Gilbert recognizes that this is true with all behaviors. And so as we look at increasing behaviors, we first want to start, does the individual know what we expect of them? That's the teaching part. If they don't have that knowledge, we need to provide them with the data. We need to give them the information. We need to increase their knowledge. That's where we always want to start. We want to make sure that they truly understand what it is that we want them to do. Second, we have to consider their capacity. If we decide they don't have the capacity, we may need to provide them with tools. So, for instance, a person who has a visual impairment needs a cane in order to walk safely. A person with a hearing impairment may need hearing aids. So we can provide people tools that increase their capacity so that they're able to perform the behavior that we're looking for. Finally, if they're not motivated, we may need to provide them with reinforcement. Okay, so they may know how to complete the math sheet. They may have all the tools and abilities that they need to complete that math sheet, but they simply don't want to complete the math sheet. So we need to provide that reinforcement. This sometimes people have a hard time with. I've heard people say that you're bribing them. Here's a very important thing to remember. The difference between a bribe and reinforcement is that when you're bribing somebody, you are giving them something ahead of time in order to encourage them to do something improper or immoral. Reinforcement, on the other hand, is given after somebody has done something we want them to do, something socially appropriate and morally right. Okay, so we're not talking about bribing, we're talking about reinforcement. We have to understand that the more difficult or the more aversive the behavior that we're asking someone to do, the more reinforcement we need to apply. And I think that we can all think about this in our own daily lives. For instance, for you to encourage me to get up and go to work, I know I'm going to get my paycheck. That's enough. That is enough reinforcement for me to get up and go do my job because I'm going to get my paycheck. On the other hand, if you want me to work 12 hours a day, you want me to get up at 3 a.m. and work 7 days a week, you're certainly going to have to increase my paycheck a lot because you're asking a lot of me. So we have to consider that when we're choosing the reinforcement. In addition, we may think that the behavior we're asking is easy. We may feel like it's not that aversive, but we have no idea what it really feels like to that individual. So when we're choosing reinforcers and it doesn't seem like our reinforcer is strong enough to get that behavior to occur consistently, simply up the reinforcement or increase the schedule, how often that reinforcement's happening. You can fade the reinforcement later. It's much more important to get the person performing that behavior, taking that path in their brain when they are following that directive and choosing that behavior, than it is to be stubborn on our end and decide we're not going to give that much reinforcement for that behavior. So we need to provide whatever reinforcement we can. We need to find that key so that when they have all of the data, all the knowledge that they need, all the capacity, all the tools that they need, we are also providing whatever reinforcement that they need to complete that behavior. Later, we can look at phasing it once it's become a part of their behavior toolbox. Then we can look at pulling it back. But as they're learning something new in particular, we've got to make sure it's there. So that's a really quick rundown of Thomas Gilbert's behavior engineering model. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Thank you.